So, how are we all doing today? It's time for another low quality video that most people aren't going to get to listen to, and even less will get something out of. I'm going to retell a story that I told a while ago that fits the times that we're in and makes a pretty good analogy to where we're at. It's called the Cadillac Man. I don't know how many of you have had the misfortune of owning a Cadillac, but they're one of the most poorly made vehicles out there in the world, and it's been that way for years. But if you talk to a Cadillac owner, they will deny that up and down all day long. Their Cadillac is the best vehicle they ever owned, and they'll never buy anything else. Why is that? Because they don't want to admit they've been conned and are prepared to pass that on to other people to make themselves feel better for the fact that they've been conned. And that's totally appropriate for the times that we live in today, because lots of people have bought the Cadillac and they would swear up and down, and literally are out there every day nowadays saying that their way is the way and there's no other way to do it. And if you don't own a Cadillac, the Cadillac of their philosophy, you ain't shit. When the reality of it is, there's all kinds of inherent problems that go along with it that no one's willing to discuss because they bought the Cadillac. They buy into the ideology. Therefore, to cover their shame and stupidity, I suppose you could say, they have to pass it on to the rest of the world. So all the rest of us are just like them. In a nutshell, without going into too much detail, that's exactly what we're dealing with today in our time. People who have bought into something that doesn't work, that's full of flaws. But because they bought into it or bought it, they're willing to sell and promote it to the rest of us to cover their own stupidity. And that's the Cadillac Man. And in my estimation, that story is totally appropriate for the times that we live in today. Here's how it should be. Every time somebody gets conned, they should be willing to point it out, instead of, through vanity or embarrassment, try to draw other people into it to make themselves feel better about their own mistakes. Everything can be fixed. The question is, how far are you willing to go to get the job done? And what are you going to have when it's finally completed?